Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 53. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, joined alongside, as always, my co-hosts, Nick Levine and Cody Stevens. Gentlemen, I hear it's a little warm right now in Florida. Should I squirt some water on you, Nick, or should we let Jake Wallman do that for you?
I think Jake Wallman is best suited for that one. When he's not bitching, he's squirting water at AJ Greer. So yeah, we'll go with Jake Wallman on that.
They need to up the fine sizes down the next CBA. I mean, with the cap going up, I mean, the fine's got to go.
Yeah, the fines I tweeted out should have been 20 to 25K. Like, what's 5K? My Vancouver relative that's with all my Edmonton relatives right now is like 5K. That's just a drop in the bucket for these guys. That doesn't deter them. And yeah, if you want AJ Greer to get a fine, so be it. Throw him one, whatever. But the Oilers whining and complaining right now.
There's a lot. It's not. They take after their fans. It's all right.
Right, we'll get it. Yeah,
take after their fans.
Most penalized, I think, Stanley Cup Final game. But Cody, Nick, weren't the Oilers a big part of that?
Well, I'll say this. I was at the game. I have never seen, literally after every single whistle for half the game, for the second half of the game, every single whistle, they're doing something. Do you not have the composure to just skate to your bench? I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Every time the whistle blew, there's always somebody going over to somebody starting shit. It is incredibly annoying. It slows the game down a ton.
Wallman's been doing it the whole series, but definitely game three.
Game three, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was absolutely insane. I'm like, at a certain point, if I'm the refs and, I'm surprised they didn't do this because they like to call every little thing. It's a Stanley Cup Final. Put the whistles away for a second. But if they're going to keep doing this after every single whistle, okay, you want to do it one more time? Go to the box. Like, I'm not dealing with this. Either skate to your bench or go to the box. Because after every single whistle, they want to start stuff, and it leads to – and people are going to get hurt. And people are going to be, oh, the Florida Panthers so dirty. The Edmonton Oilers had 6 power plays. Oilers are running around like whatever in the third period. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? You think you're not going to get called for penalties? At that point of the game, they're policing it. They're not calling penalties like they would in the first, well, maybe this series like they would.
But Nick, if you want to stop it, you pull one guy to the box early and you set the tone. You're like, we're going to take one guy away and the other team's going to have a power play. They didn't really care.
They did do that in the first period. The problem was, I mean, I'm just going to say it's a Stanley Cup Final. Put the whistles away. There doesn't need to be 3-4 power plays, 4, 5, 6 penalties in the first period.
Whether Heat fans like this or not, the Oiler fans, they want to call it like a LeBron James basketball.
I mean, I don't get it. And for all the Oiler fans upset about the power plays, you've had plenty of power play opportunities.
You've had 16.
There was a podcast out there. I'm not going to say who, but they were complaining about, they said they need to put the whistles away. Then they mentioned the one that Marchand sold the high stick on, is what he said, that Lundell was flip-flopping and forcing. So they want to put the whistles away, proceeds to mention 3 Florida Panthers that Drew calls. So what I'm hearing from that is they want 4-1 power plays advantages.
Okay.
5-0 power play advantages in favor of Edmonton. It's not good enough. They want 6, 7, 8 power plays a game. They don't want any penalties called on them. And it's like, if it's anything other than that, they're going to complain. And if they're not going to complain, they're going to run around in the third period like a bunch of babies throwing tantrums because they're getting pumped 5-1.
And Cody, they said that's fine to do that when the game's out of hand. But if Florida was doing that, it would be thugs.
Yeah, and
elbows up, right?
And they want to talk about like the flopping anywhere. Skinner flopped in the goaltender interference call on Bennett in game.
But no, 2. Sam Bennett, he knows what he's doing. That's a sneaky play. Him just getting pushed into the goalie, that's a sneaky play. Because
Draisaitl embellished on the Lundell trip.
It hit him. Draisaitl on Losterinen. Did anybody see that elbow he did on Losterinen?
Yeah, the elbows. Apparently it was called. The TNT said it was called.
Well, I didn't see it.
But the goal got scored, so no one knows.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we're sitting here complaining about every little call.
Like, here's the thing. Unlike, unlike Oilers fans, we know our team doesn't need power plays to win because the Florida Panthers have been the better team 5-5 for the majority of this series. The best 5-5 stretch Edmonton has had this series was probably the third period in overtime of game 1. After that, it's been all Panthers.
But Cody, why are their fans and their media going back to this? And some of us are like, guys, why are you talking about this? If you're online, if you're on social media, what's taken over after game 3? Why are they complaining about having more power plays when they learned last year losing to the Florida Panthers? We got to be a better 5-on-5 team, and we got to win that way. And that's how they said they were going to beat Vegas and beat Dallas 5-on-5.
And that's how
they're going back to the
those
power play
teams.
narratives.
And
I'm just going to say this.
They're not good enough, guys.
I gave the Oilers credit for being a very mentally resilient team. I thought they had a bit of that DNA that they gained from last year. Squirting water bottles at AJ Greer, doing what they were doing, running around after every single thing, whatever the hell Corey Perry was doing. That's not what I thought they would be like. That's not mentally strong. That's not championship DNA. I mean, that was like, I actually couldn't believe how in their heads we were. Like, I've never seen that. Like, that to that extent, especially in the Stanley Cup Final. Like, they make it a 2-1 game. Reinhart scores. That's it. They're complaining to the refs. They're doing this. They're doing whatever. I mean, listen, I get it. They're upset at missed calls, but the Panthers are
calls. There was enough calls out on the ice in Game 3, and I think the series in general.
Well, they're referring to Game 2.
They're missing calls both ways.
There's missing calls
too many men call?
But it's the Stanley Cup Final.
They had 7 guys on the ice for theirs.
Listen, they get 6-7 power plays a game. It's not enough. They want 9-10 power plays a game because, like, they'll say they got 4 penalties in the first period. Well, so did they. They got 4 power plays too.
But when we're undisciplined, we call it out on the post-game show, Cody. We do it every night. Guys, stop complaining about calls. Those are warranted penalties. But are the Oilers media, are the Oilers content creators, are the Oilers fans saying that right now?
And I want to bring up this one thing because last year, Game 3, they were down 4-1 going to the third period, and they had a power play going into the third period. Did they start throwing a tantrum? No, they tried to come back. They scored 2 goals in the third. They nearly did. And what'd they do this game?
Quit.
And they're trying to take a pound of flesh. For what? There's nothing to take a pound of flesh over. Like, it's kind of ridiculous because it was like, I know the Panthers fans do it, but we do it like one time and that's it. Like, our guys get thrown out and then we're done. It's mainly Matthew Tkachuk or Sam Bennett, whatever line that is.
Right.
But then after that, it was every line. It was Janmark. It was Nurse. It was
every player.
Frederick. It was happening. It was
after every whistle.
And Wallman's doing after every whistle. So, Oiler fans all in my life, my family, friends, I just can't stand Matthew Tkachuk. What he used to do on Calgary, and he still does the same thing in Florida. You got a guy in Jake Wallman that you brought in as a rental or whatever. Maybe he's there long term. He's doing it every whistle. He's doing it every game.
They're holding Matthew Tkachuk and Wallman's throwing punches at him. It's like, but here's the thing: the Panthers have done that to, like, every team has done that to the Panthers except for like Tampa or Toronto, where it's like they've had like a tantrum at, like when Tampa lost 5-1, they didn't really throw that many tantrums that I remember.
And here's the other part,
and it hasn't worked.
To the people on social media who are slowing down the plays to the smallest millisecond. Guys, what are we doing? Like, that's not going to change anything. Oh, well, look here. He only clipped Bobrovsky and that he sold it. Guys, it's a fast game.
Arvidsson ran right through him.
I mean, you know what I'm referring to then.
Arvidsson ran right through him.
If we're at the point where you can't criticize every little single thing, and, you know, I think, like,
we could do that with Bouchard doing his legal picks in the neutral zone.
Oh, yeah. What about
what
interference in Game 1? Have you heard us?
Look at the film. Hey, Cody and Nick, let's go spend an hour on the legal picks of the Oilers and compile some evidence against them. Don't do that.
But here's the thing: but like off this officiating, because it's nonsensical. Because it's not the reason why the Edmonton Oilers are losing. They've had 16 power plays in 3 games. They're 3 for 16.
It's not.
And last year they were 0 for 7 after 2 games, and I don't know if they got one in Game 3 last year either.
They were 2 for 10 going into Game 3 this year, and they're 3 for 16 now.
And there's a video out there
last year
of the Evander Kane penalty. Evander Kane gets a game misconduct for slightly tapping Carter Verhaeghe. First of all, he slashed him. Second of all, it's a 5-1 game. Everything gets a game misconduct at that point. It's called policing the game.
Look,
that's not getting a game.
You can't tap a guy in the face with your stick on the ground, no matter how soft or hard it is.
No, but they're policing the game at that point. The game's not within reach. Yeah. So I don't know why we have an issue with that.
And they gave the game misconduct because they know Kane wasn't gonna stop.
Exactly.
He
was.
was
Sam Bennett got a game misconduct, didn't he? Aaron Ekblad got a game misconduct.
Like,
we get those all the time. We don't.
They're policing the game.
Evander Kane was just on one from the first period to the third.
Don't know what he was doing.
But right now, I'm extremely confident where the Panthers are in this series. I'm confident going into Game 4 and the rest of the series. If the result of Game 4 will change how I feel about Game 5. It truly depends on that.
Okay, go on with that. What do you mean?
Because if we do win Game 4, I feel like we lose Game 5. But if we lose Game 4, I feel like we can win Game 5. Like, that's just how I feel about it. And
I have a hard time seeing right now that the Oilers can go off and win 3 in a row.
It's just, yeah. I also find a hard way for the Panthers. I see the Panthers lifting the cup at Edmonton just because the way Edmonton has played at home.
Different beast.
Hard to see that.
But right
especially
now,
in an elimination game, like desperation, certain optics there. But again,
but also the Panthers have some of that experience from last year, bringing all the family up there and then bringing them all back.
But back,
if they learn their lesson,
it's got to be. We got to focus on Game 4 here.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not talking so far ahead there.
I think when you take a look at, I want to bring the conversation back to what we were discussing post Game 1. We did not look good. The first pair was brutal. And I think all of us had the concern we had lost our legs a bit. The reaction after the Ekholm goal, it's like, what the hell happened?
The overtime was not good in Game 5.
The overtime was terrible.
On the post-game shows, we breaking this down over on our YouTube channel side.
And then it was the complete opposite in Game 2. And we talked about, and I talked about, can we slow the game down a bit? Can we have a continuation from Game 2, which we seem to gain our legs later into that game, later into this series? Can it be continued into Game 3? And I would agree that it is difficult to really grade the game on a full scale because of all the penalties and whatever. But I do think you take a look at how we started that game and how we finished it. I mean, we were all over Edmonton. I think one of the key points in that Game 3 is when McDavid's coming through the neutral zone and Aaron Ekblad puts him on his ass. You have to make a statement there. You can't let McDavid fly through the neutral zone thinking he can just do whatever he wants. And he's been doing that
last year either. I don't remember us putting him on his behind at all.
No, that's a statement.
I think he let up a little bit there, and he's like, I can let up, see what's happening in front of me. No one's going to touch me.
Yeah. And
because nobody can catch him, but Ekblad lined him up perfectly.
And one key thing I'm noticing here, and this is a big thing, and the scrums after the game kind of told me everything I needed to know. The TS Ekholm ain't 100%. He is not 100%.
And I think
they pulled him towards the bench on that.
Yeah, because they know what's happening.
They know what's happening, and they don't want to get
hurt. Greer was trying to get after his behind. It was.
Well, yeah, they knew that.
But what is he favoring? Ribs?
I have no idea.
I've heard all types of things from people out on.
It's so impossible.
It looks he's trying to give him shots here, right?
Yeah, and we don't know what the injury is because here's the thing. If you knew what the injury was, the players on the team would target the injuries.
But I'm thinking it's upper body. If they're trying, I'm just surmising because they're trying to grab him towards the bench there. That has nothing to do about your lower half.
Yeah, and kind of turtling a bit, And
I also, on the other defenseman too, when it comes to Ekholm, Darnell Nurse has been terrible. They switched up the defensive pairs very briefly, and then before the Game 3 even started, actually, we'll go back to the.
Yeah, what a decoy! Oh, that's good.
I've read some Oiler fans comments. Apparently, this is a Knobloch special, so this is something that he does.
That gives out the pre-game pairings, and it's not.
Yeah, we've talked about.
I guess it kind of throws the preparation of the team off.
I don't think it matters. I think
Florida.
You take a look. We talked about John Klingberg being very poor after Game 2.
Well, I think because he's getting hit a lot.
Yeah, and I talked about this on Armando on Locked On. I said I would put Troy Stetcher in, or if Nugent Hopkins can't go, which apparently is a game time decision again, he's not 100%.
Well, as of this recording, just to jump in,
as of this recording,
Oilers Nation today, they talked Sketcher should come in for Game 4.
I said that on Locked On. I said Stetcher should come in prior to Game 3, or if Ryan Nugent Hopkins, who was a game time decision for Game 3, as he is for Game 4, as of this recording, they should take Nugent Hopkins out and go 11-7. Because I think Stetcher can help more than a Jeff Skinner.
And Skinner's not going to do anything.
And Jeff Skinner, I mean, so I think that should be an option on the table because I do think Klingberg has played well, but now he's getting tested a bit more. And this is what I was talking about when Edmonton played Dallas. It's like they didn't test them. They weren't physical. They didn't require Edmonton to take a hit at all in that freaking series. I mean, they refused to chip the puck in deep and go get it and get a piece of their defenseman. No wonder everything was through the middle of the ice, pushed to the outside. Edmonton's right on it with back pressure, and it's out of the zone. And and Dallas is wondering why they couldn't do anything. That's where our game's different. Chip in, get a piece of their defenseman. Their defensemen, they're prone to mistakes. Bouchard, Nurse, everybody. We know that. So when we force them to move the puck up the wall, take an extra, not give them that extra second that they really prefer, that's where the mistakes start to come in. And I thought the first two games, the defense core for Edmonton wasn't too horrible, right? I thought it got bailed out by Stuart Skinner, but now you look at Darnell Nurse, Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm, who seems to be nursing an injury, John Klingberg there, Brett Kulak and Jake Wallman were in Wallman's head. So you start to kind of get to that defense a bit, and that's kind of been the.
But isn't that the war of attrition, Cody? They're getting worn down as the series goes on. That's why you're not noticing that early on.
It's game 3. I don't know how the heck they're worn down already, and we didn't play our game 1. But according to Mark Spector, proud Edmonton journalist, Knobloch did say there will be a lineup change for game 4. And Spector did note it was likely Stetcher in for Klingberg.
It's Max Jones, isn't it? No, I'm joking.
I don't know. It could be Jeff Skinner for I don't know.
Nugent Hopkins. I mean, he said Nugent Hopkins is a game time decision.
That means he's playing to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if they bench him.
But the guys that were making an impact early in this series, the depth forwards for Edmonton.
Where's Adam Henrique or Trent Frederick been?
Don't say that Brown. Yet. Don't say that name yet.
Oh, sorry, Cody. Connor Brown from last.
Connor Brown. We talked about Vasily Podkolzin, Kasperi Kapanen, who I thought had a really good first game. I think game 1
But right now, it's just with game 1, they were very physical. They were back checking fast, all of that. They weren't that in game 2, and they sure as heck wasn't that game 3. So
it's the adjustments that Paul Maurice makes, and then it starts to get in your head. Then you get worn down. Maybe it's more of a mental thing, Cody, than being worn down, because like you said, it's only 3 games.
Yeah, and it's and people are in the Canadian media are trying to downplay the scrums after that. That was different than any other scrum it up after a while, what Boston did. Remember what Boston did in what was it, game 2? Yeah, it wasn't like that.
And I'm going back to the New York Islanders series with Jaromir Jagr when we're getting into brawls on the ice and Sean Thornton's choking guys out. Back to that with Clutterbuck and Martin.
I think you mean game 3 too, with Olmark fighting.
It was something. It was end of game 2 because that's when Tkachuk and Pasternak fought.
I remember Lomberg.
It was after that Olmark snapped.
Lomberg choked out Frederick.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a tantrum quite like that versus Florida. I thought Carolina was very rattled.
But yeah, I don't love the narrative. And again, we're Panther fans, could be a little biased that it's okay, the game's out of hand. I don't mind the Oilers doing that. Connor McDavid saying that. Knobloch had some really interesting quotes as well.
I don't mind. We might be a little biased, but we do not come anywhere close to some of these Edmonton Oilers fans. I'll say it right now. I have not, and this is not all Oiler fans, but the bias that some of them show, it is ridiculous. I
told you guys that Montreal Canadiens level, some other teams.
It's really bad.
But I don't mind them, after the whistle, face washing, stuff like that.
No, that wasn't face washing.
I don't mind that.
You don't mind that, Cody, after they start punching guys with gloves on and the sticks get up? I'm tired of that. It's after a point, drop the gloves.
In between the commercial break, Tkachuk was just skating by. They're slashing him. They're cross-checking. What are you doing?
No, what I draw the line at is what Trent Frederick did.
Yeah, that's just
in the middle of the play trying to cross-check Sam Bennett and cross-check him in the lower body where he knows there's no padding.
But that's where fights have to happen by that point. But when you're getting your sticks up in those scrums, I don't like that.
You know what? We're in their head. And I say that, I'm not upset.
And we're guilty of that. Matthew Tkachuk is, other guys are. Yeah. Drop the gloves at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this, what are you doing? Because I don't care if they do that. You're going to try to hurt us. We can play that game if we really want to. It's more of, after every whistle, it kind of gets, annoying at a certain point.
It was getting annoying for me. And the sticks get up.
That's where Lindell
could get, his teeth knocked out with a stick. I'm like, I don't have time for it. Or Barkov. Do we really need that?
Well, I'm not even worried about that. It's like, just let the game go. Like, what are you doing? You're not going to win this
No, but
game.
the rest got to pull a guy to a box and say, you got to
Well,
stop it. But they didn't seem to care.
They're not getting in our head. The more they do that, the more that just showcases we're in their head.
And if we're scoring power play goals like that now, with Stuart Skinner getting beat over the shoulder, Cody,
how about that Aaron Ekblad goal?
6-hole,
and then
all of those.
How about that Aaron Ekblad goal? The bumper play was finally starting to be there a bit.
Give Reinhardt a touch, like we've been saying on the podcast.
Yeah, but now Reinhardt's starting to get going, because after that goal, you kind of saw his confidence get back.
2 huge plays in that game by Reinhardt, the goal and that assist to Ekblad.
Should have had 2 goals too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what more we need to say on like Brad Marchand or Sam Bennett. I mean, those two. I mean,
can we say on Anton Lundell, because for a podcast audience, he's not only leading the Florida Panthers, but the entire NHL in these playoffs, and plus minus, everyone. Plus minus matters, right?
Yeah, and
If
he was flying around. He was flying around that first period too, and
he was one of our best players in the first period.
And Lundell setting up those goals for Marchand, the overtime winner, like plays like that. People like these are plays that are evidence with Anton Lundell. If you play him with skill, you play him with talent, he can perform. It's not just Brad Marchand carrying that.
And another guy who I thought has really gotten going. I thought he had an excellent Carolina series. Criticized him a bit after game 1, even game 2. I thought Matthew Tkachuk had a really good game in game 3. I mean, that's a promising sign for us. He was, we've seen certain things with Matthew Tkachuk not going into the corner. He kind of turns his ass out to make a check. He was hard in on the forecheck, was not shying away from contact. Some things on the power play still drive you nuts a little bit, but definitely he was.
But he's playing better 5-on-5 now.
Yeah.
His far more noticeable.
Better. His positioning is better.
More noticeable.
Because here's the thing: he's not going to burn anyone. He's not going to burn anyone when he's healthy. And right now, he's dealing with a groin, so his skating is going to be nerfed more than it usually is.
And you take a look at that pass to Reinhardt on the power play in the first period. Reinhardt needs to. Kachuk's pass to Reinhardt.
Yeah, but Tkachuk on an off day can make that pass. I'm not like that's not what I'm worried about with Matthew Tkachuk. My worry is where he is positionally wise in the offensive zone. Is he in Skinner's kitchen? That's where I want him.
When Matthew makes those passes better, as you call it, downhill or coming into zones, it's not always passing it up to the slot area or trying to force a pass here or there. So again, it's like that pass there to Reinhardt, beautiful look there in that scene.
And then Verhaeghe's gotten going now. I told you guys he
elite second unit.
Look, that's why I didn't want to change the power play because I'm looking at this second unit. I'm like, I don't want to switch those guys.
What Paul Maurice did was he made the power play 2 unit number 1. He didn't take guys off. I get mad that he doesn't take Tkachuk off or certain guys off. But hell, take Barkov or Reinhardt off for a power play or 2. I don't mind that.
I mean,
but what he's doing is he doesn't want to call out the guys. Instead, he's like, power play 2, you're now power play 1.
Yeah, but a guy that we haven't even mentioned yet, and I think all 3 of us are shocked about, Nate Schmidt.
Oh my gosh! Dude.
What the?
We've talked about him a lot.
He's earned himself. We talk a lot about Bennett. He's raised his market price. Nate Schmidt, I mean, brought in as the OEL replacement, $800,000. Started off a little rough, but he is really acclimated.
3.5 at a minimum in summer.
Yeah, 3x3.
I will put this on the record right now. If we do re-sign it for like a 3x2, I'm okay with that. $2 million per
by 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd go 2x2. Again,
if you have to give him the extra year, then give it. Don't matter.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a nice payday though, 3x3, and good for him. I mean, he's playing excellent right now. Yeah. He's doing, and it's not just puck moving ability, and he's made some really nice passes. These aren't just secondary assists. Like he's not only scoring goals, he's like you see the Marchand goal in game 1, the cross ice pass there, the Bennett goal in game 2, activating up in the play. I mean. And even the Bennett one in game 1 as well.
Yeah, but but he's way better than what OEL was for us in this postseason.
1,000%.
And that's why I'm fine with re-signing him. It's not like OEL where it's like, well, he's become our second worst defenseman in this postseason. He's been top 3, probably top 2.
The one thing I'll say, and
you might have to look at re-signing him in the summer if there's not bodies available. Or guys
not to get too off topic, but if OEL, his contributions, very thankful for them. I thought they were quite a bit overrated. I mean, if he got his market raised that much, if he got that overrated by what we did last year and what he did, how does Nate Schmidt not get that type of attention?
Fans and content creators wanted a 4x4 for OEL last year. They talked about it for months and months and months.
Well, $3.5 million for essentially a bottom pair defenseman.
And we're talking less price for Schmidt and less years too.
And Nate Schmidt,
if it's possible, I don't know.
I think that's a bit of a stretch. I would do like a 1-2 year deal at around 1.85.
Would he take a 1 year deal at this point? You'd have to look at it.
I think he deserves a 3x3, 3x3.5. Go to another team.
Yeah,
hopefully he's able to win a ring here, and
But if it's 3x2, I'm taking that.
He might want more term though with someone else that Zito's not.
Is someone giving him more than 3 years?
3 or 4.
He could. I mean, he only has like 700 NHL games, so it's not like the mileage probably isn't all there.
Is he early to mid 30s?
He's 33.
33.
You can also get like a Mikkola kind of like 3 years, $2.5 million per.
That's the guy we need to re-sign, Mikkola.
Well, July 1st, I've been on that train for a while. Get him re-signed.
Yeah, because
hey, everyone, we're not talking about Ben and Ekblad contracts that you want to hear because we gets honest about that. We're talking about the other guys because I've noticed the Edmonton media, they haven't even brought up Nate Schmidt as the UFAs. They're talking about the Panthers UFAs and who they should re-sign and who they should let walk. They're not even mentioning Nate Schmidt.
Yeah, but with last thing on the Nate Schmidt front, Oyo had 6 points all of last postseason. Nate Schmidt has 5 this Stanley Cup Final.
12 points in 20 games, averaging right around the same minutes, I believe, as Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
The same minutes.
Schmidt has been a top 5 or top 6 player for us in the finals so far.
He's tied for first in points.
He's probably been a top 5, top 6 player for us all postseason run.
Might be for both teams.
Like he might be the best defenseman in this series so far.
Yeah, like unless you guys putting up points, but what Schmidt is doing, I don't know. I'd kind of lean there.
You can take a look. Nate Schmidt, 16.5 minutes in the regular season. Still over 16 minutes of ice time, 12 points in 20 games. I talked a lot about minute allocation. Take a look at some of our previous bottom pair defensemen. Nate Schmidt at over 16 minutes of ice time is a bottom pair defenseman. I trust him out there. He can run a second power play unit. If he needs to, can play some penalty kill. I mean, the ideal bottom pair defenseman. This is kind of
he's one of the best skaters right now in this series.
Right? And it's like, that's what we needed 2 years ago, a 16-minute veteran bottom pair guy. He's brought that.
Flying out there.
And I see, and remember, down the stretch here, the last 2.5 months of the season when Ekblad got suspended, Nate Schmidt was one of the most stable defensemen we had, playing around 18.5 minutes a night.
Yeah.
And playing very consistent, very solid, steady hockey for us. That was big for us at the time.
Right now, it's like going into the rest of the series, the one thing I would like to see is, I would like to see the Lundell line against the McDavid line a couple times. Because I just want I hate saying it like this.
Barkov to be able to get free a little bit more.
Kind of get a better matchup a bit. Like in an offensive zone draw or whatever.
In game 3, or it's impossible to see with all the penalties.
Well, they were double shifting Draisaitl and McDavid. I think midway.
That's not going to work against.
They're talking about going to that, guys.
Full time.
It's not going to work.
I mean, I don't know if that works. The depth for the Edmonton Oilers has been
pause for
coming into the series. It's been nullified thus far.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and like the one thing no one's talking about for Edmonton is 5-on-5. McDavid and Draisaitl have not done much. This series, 5-on-5, not much.
I think it's
Draisaitl has one goal.
That's 5-on-5 goal against Barkov yet in 2 Stanley Cup Finals as of this recording.
And he hasn't scored yet this final.
Well, then he has 0, I believe, because he had 0 last year, 5v5, I think, against Barkov.
But
at least through the series, I don't know.
And everyone's like, "Oh, Barkov with the he's gonna get something." I'm not worried about that. Like we have.
Well, if Reinhardt's going now, I'm not worried about Barkov.
I mean, listen, we have.
I thought Reinhardt really got going. Cody,
I was worried about Reinhardt more.
Like, Reinhardt was below the goal line. He was shifting in and out of throughout players, active below the hash marks, getting to those loose pucks.
It shows that Reinhardt and Barkov, to me, everyone's dealing with stuff at this time of year, but they're dealing with like week-to-week type injuries, maybe more.
Barkov too, you think?
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That hit he took earlier in the playoff.
And like I said,
he's not skating as well as he should be.
But Barkov's going to pop one, probably either game 4 or game 5. I'm calling it right now. Like, it's going to happen soon.
But before we move any further, we have a word from our sponsor, CanesWear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? CanesWear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. CanesWear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at PanthersWear.com. Again, that's PanthersWear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
And a word from our other sponsor, Jeremy Beckham with Bexell's FLA or Next Home Treasure Coast. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and the team put humans over houses, working hard for you, whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BexellsFLA.com or call 772-475-5371 now. You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, Cody. Before we jump into anything else, I want to mention this and then maybe share this tweet on the screen for our YouTube audience. Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel, turn notifications on. We're pushing towards 500 subscribers here. I want to give a shout out to Big C's and our community hangout show with Johnny Lazarus and Will Manso. It's on our YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. Johnny Lazarus mentioned the tweet that I put out this week on Morning Cup of Hockey, and just showing the overall balance here, guys, of the Florida Panthers lines from 1 to 3. And even it's not mentioned there in that tweet. I'm not sure what the fourth line numbers are, but the fourth line has been extraordinary for us since Paul Maurice made those adjustments in the Toronto Maple Leafs series as well.
Yeah, as you can see for our audio listeners, Bula Barkov, this was after game?
After period 2 of
so this isn't like fully updated, so there could be a couple points left off here. But the combined points for each line from the playoffs for the Panthers: Barkov line 50 points, Bennett line 51 points, Lundell line 49 points. And
a lot of fans have been talking about, hey, where's the first line production, Cody?
It's been there. It's just, do they really need to do it?
And it's scary if they hit another level.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like Kirby's biggest concern going to this postseason was depth scoring.
Yeah, and one of the things that got lost in that is we had 12 guys that scored 10 or more goals in the regular season. Tied for
the regular season was hard to tell because guys were out with load management.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the personnel, Cody, on the roster, but the injuries, the load management. How is the chemistry?
And the other part of that, very interesting. Look at two guys that weren't in our top 9 for majority of that second half after Four Nations: Mackie Samoskevich and Jesper Boqvist. But those two players, very cheap. They were combined for less than $1.6 million in cap hit this year. Put up 27 goals collectively, and now
they're not even in the lineup.
And they're not even in the lineup. Max Samoskevich, 15 goals. That's not insignificant.
But
Jesper
I think
Boqvist,
with
12.
Brad Marchand, it just makes everything flow with the depth.
Yeah,
he's dynamic. We talk about Tarasenko. Tarasenko is a good player.
Or
Brad
if Mackie
Marchand's
was in the lineup,
dynamic.
I don't think it would be rolling like this with Marchand. And
No.
I like
I like Tarasenko, but Marchand is dynamic with the puck.
He's making Lusto better, Cody. Obviously Lundell, but Lundell's doing a lot for himself. Erod, other guys on the fourth line. He's doing so much for the depth.
But where does this
line pressure?
Is it crazy to say for right now that this might be the greatest third line the Panthers have had in their history?
I'm so Brad Marchand is my number one priority.
I was talking about this off air with some other people. It's like, if we're able to win the cup, even if we don't, but let's say we are, whatever. Is this not one of the greatest deadline trades of all time? I mean, we do not get out of the second round without
Rentals would probably be my.
And you guys know what we said about Seth Jones on our Breaking Trade show on YouTube channel. Check it out. It's there. We're going to go through it in the summer, get some clips from it. But again, Brad Marchand, people are going to be everyone relax, Kirby. How's he in your number one? He's 37 years old. He's one of the best skaters in the series flying out there. I saw what he did.
A true difference maker. You get a true difference maker at the deadline.
I
can't imagine this team without him.
Done next year, right?
Imagine this top 9 with a Mackie Samoskevich or Jesper Boqvist in it instead of Brad Marchand.
Now, again, I don't know if I want to pay him $8 million here.
No, well, that's a different.
But if he can work a bit of a discount, we always talk about Panthers. Hey, Kirby, Nick, Cody, someone's going to sign. They're going to sign discounts with the Panthers. This guy is, that guy is. Brad Marchand is the ideal guy, Cody, to sign a discount on a 2-3 year.
But the one thing going into this next game, and this is a big news line here. The Oilers are not sure on which goalie is going to start for Game 4.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to say, coming into Game 3, it was very complimentary of both goaltenders. Stuart Skinner played very well Games 1 and 2. I argue might have stolen Game 1 for them with how good he was in that second period. Game 2 kept them in it. we talked about, does he fall off the rails? Kirby, Cody, you're like, I don't know about that. And I don't know if he necessarily fell off the rails.
Yeah, I'm going to be the opposite side of this argument.
Something fell off. And now there's a question mark in net again.
Cody's questioning him now?
No.
But there is a question mark in net.
Legendary Game 4 numbers.
Yes, he does. And it's like...
He had legendary numbers after a loss this postseason.
Yeah. It was like 2-0 with like 2 shutouts. But with Skinner, it's just the only goal I really put on him was the Marchand one because he just dove to nowhere. But Verhaeghe, top cheese. Reinhart, top cheese. Bennett, breakaway, 0 chance. Ekblad again, insane passing play. And, I mean, the Erod was Pickard.
Cody, I could be wrong on this number. I was listening to some Sportsnet podcasts. I believe this was on the Kipper and Bourne one. They had Valaket on talking about the goalies. Skinner has faced, I want to say, 25 high-danger chances in this series. You know how many goals he's given up in those?
17.
14, I believe, out of 25.
I was close.
So his number is like 1 point something when you look at the goal saved above expected. Bob's is the exact opposite to that. He's only allowed 3 or 4 high danger.
But this is Sergei Bobrovsky versus Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, and I think
so.
Stuart Skinner was able to...
Just to jump in, Nick, sorry. When that happens, it favors the goalie that has those better high danger numbers, and they win the Stanley Cup.
Well, I also think there's a freedom to play a little bit to playing in front of like those goaltenders, right? Like you trust the goaltender can make those high danger stops, right? Edmonton of Stuart Skinner, if you allow a breakaway, no disrespect to Stuart Skinner, I mean, you're not too confident he's going to stop it, right?
And the breakaways as well. He's allowed. And again, I say it's not.
You never get breakaways. This is insane.
We've had 4 or 5 breakaways in this series.
7 for 10 he's allowed on breakaways.
Yeah, like something like that. Like we have
one of them, Reinhart missed the net.
Reinhart won, 2 for Marchand, 2 for Marchand, 1 for Bennett. So we're at 4. And the thing is a big difference right now for the Panthers. Like I'm knocking on wood on this. They're not letting the Oilers' depth get off shorthanded. Like that is one thing I think the Panthers are doing much better versus this year versus last year.
Is that the one positive on our power play so far?
Just to wrap up on the goalie thing, Aiden Hill severely dominated Bob on the high danger chances versus saves, and Bob slightly to moderately outdueled Skinner last year, but Skinner's numbers way down this year.
Yeah, but the thing is just Skinner does not look good moving left to right now.
And I questioned, is he going to be able to keep up what he was doing the first 2 games? Some people were more confident than I were on that. I gave him a lot of credit. If he were to do that,
you had to.
If he were to do that, Kirby, you said that bodes very well for Edmonton. Now
but it's the game plan to get Skinner moving east and west.
And credit to the Panthers, right? And now it's you go to Calvin Pickard, you go to Stuart Skinner. This is regardless of who you go with. It's not a conversation you want when you're down 2-1 in the Stanley Cup Final. Who do we put in net?
You've given high praise to Skinner, Nick, and I haven't pushed back on that. And we've talked about Skinner a lot during
Skinner's deserved the praise he's gotten before going into this series.
Yeah, but you watch game 3, he's swimming in the net on the first goal. He toe picks on the Reinhart setup deck.
I also thought he was a little too deep in his net on the Verhaeghe goal.
That's how he plays, though. He plays.
That's how he plays. That's how you're going to beat him.
I mean,
these are all-world shots. We talked about that with Freddie Anderson. I'm not blaming Freddie Anderson. That's an all-world shot by Verhaeghe.
And then he has the 5-hole, which is opened up now. Because remember, Marchand beat him not once, but twice 5-hole.
And they're opening out there. Bennett, just your jock straps up in the rafters there.
That's what Reinhart should have did in the first overtime game, too.
I think it's tough for Skinner because, like you said, these are world-class shots by Verhaeghe and Reinhart. The Reinhart one, unbelievable shot. But if you're on that Oilers bench or if you're an Oilers fan, you're like, I know it's a great shot, but you got to have that one.
I don't know, Nick.
But again, I said it with the Marner goal. It's
even the Erod one.
It's a backbreaker, that Reinhart goal.
Yeah, but it's like
that's the difference in the series. And again,
the Reinhart one's off of a turnover off the forecheck pressure, whereby the Panthers by Barkov pushing was it Klingberg into the ref. That's a smart play by Barkov, Cody, that I don't think a lot of people are seeing on film. Maybe hockey psychology.
Because it's not going to end up on the score sheet. Right. But the thing is, like, for me, if they go to Pickard and they lose, I think the series is done. Because you could probably go back to Skinner, have him play a good game, But he's going to go back, and I think we're going to win in Game 6.
They've talked about going to Pickard, then going back to Skinner. I've heard that discussion.
Like Carolina tried that. It worked for, 2 periods?
To give Skinner a reset. How many resets does Skinner need during the regular
He
season?
got 2 days off here. This is a reset.
No, but he needs all these mental resets. Bob, he's a horse. He goes out every game.
Yeah, and
the difference. That's
the difference. But that's a big issue because if you can't go out to the media and say, okay, we're starting Skinner next game, no issues. Like, why are you trying to play some chess here? It's a goalie versus backup goalie, and it's like.
But I thought Cody only Paul Maurice plays mind games with the media. Today the Oilers not being available to the media. But these little lineup quandaries they're having and little decoy plays. I thought it's only Paul Maurice.
But right now it's just. But the key for me is just 5-on-5 play for the Panthers. You keep winning this 5-on-5 battle.
Win the neutral zone.
You're hoisting another Stanley Cup.
Shout out to Jack, Neutral Zone Jack talks about it all year.
And that was the one thing I think we started carrying it through the neutral zone quite a bit last game. Probably because we had the room to. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing I wanted. And that's one thing I didn't like in Game 1 was I think a lot of times we had space to take and we did not take it.
Yes. And also the national media is now calling us an elite passing team. When we're not passing well, we look like hot garbage. Now
I guess I must watch this team too much because
not watching us game in game.
Or you don't watch other teams enough.
I would have put us in the top 10 apparently.
Like elite. Imagine if we had a defenseman back there that was just throwing peas up the ice and to guys we don't really have that.
Because here,
can you imagine how free Barkov and Reinhardt would have a lot of breakaways if we had a defenseman springing them all the time? Just think of any.
I hate to use this. I know Kirby hates this guy, but Erik Karlsson in Ottawa used to be one of the best in the NHL from those passes.
But that's why you would like him on our team, even at this point of his career. For that.
Well, you just said it. I'm just bringing up a point.
No, that's fine. But when a guy like that has all these other deficiencies in this game, you say a guy like Dougie Hamilton.
But I'm just giving an example,
yeah.
Because I know as much as you dislike Karlsson, but goal line to blue line, there wasn't a guy better than Erik Karlsson.
Well, that's why Mike Hoffman and all those guys got sprung.
His pass to Mike Hoffman on that breakaway is one of the most elite passes I've ever seen
against Boston.
But it's probably my second favorite pass in playoff. My first favorite one is always going to be Backstrom to Ovechkin, Game 5 Stanley Cup Final, where he lofts it over 4 sticks of the Vegas Golden Knights, and Ovechkin hits it the one-timer. I'll show you guys after.
Well, you always talk about our best passer is Barkov, but it's in small to moderate areas passes. We don't have guys that are long stretch.
Long-range passer. Ekblad's not bad.
Not bad, but it's game in, game out.
I wouldn't say Forsling is. Jones could be.
We have a lot of guys back there that ice the puck.
Nikola, no.
No,
Schmidt maybe. We haven't seen it
yet. Maybe Schmidt down to Marchand, but again, that's in the zone. That's in the offense.
And Kulikov,
I'm talking about springing guys forward.
Kulikov, hell no.
Kulikov back in the day a little bit, but I don't.
That's back in the day. But looking forward to the rest of the series, I'm really confident right now with the way the team is playing. Yeah. And like I said, for me, it all matters 5-on-5. I trust our penalty kill. I do think if the Oilers do win another game, it'll probably be them getting off on the power play.
Yeah. I still think Nick, these days off help us, help them.
Them after a game like
that. Yeah, I think it really all depend.
With these weird scheduling.
Yeah, I mean, sitting on a loss like that for 2 days. I mean, it sucks, I'm sure, right?
I said on our recap show, hey, I have some momentum here for the Panthers going in because it was a longer overtime and we pulled it out.
Yeah.
And that's where Palmer says he doesn't believe in momentum. That can kind of wear on you a bit. Second, third.
Yeah, I still personally think this is a 6-7 game series still.
If this ends in 5, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end in 5. Again, I'm not 100% sure how game 4 can go. I think we'll win, but we'll see. I still think it's a 6-7 game series.
If I were to predict the way in my head it could go, if Edmonton wins, they spring out to a 2-0 lead early and kind of just play a shutdown kind of game. I think, it's been this way the last 10 Stanley Cup Final games, but I think whoever scores first game 4 wins.
Whoever scores first in game 4 wins, you think?
Yeah, because if we score first, I feel like Edmonton's going to just look at this like as a mountain again.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I said, it depends. Like, are we giving up 3 power plays in the first like we have every game in this series? I'm going to say yes.
Even when we've been winning in this series and winning in games, I'm like, let's keep it 5-on-5.
Like we'll see if the officiating changes a bit here. I don't think it will.
Chris Rooney and Wes McCauley alternating back and forth. Wow.
And
the dramatics.
And the first period's been penalty heavy all 3 games, so I can't really see a difference in the officiating here.
But I think Panthers are at favor when it's 5-on-5. We can roll those 3 to 4 lines.
Yeah, and I guess another thing is like the Panthers are winning the special teams battle. I don't really count the 2 extra goals or whatever late in that game. Well, I guess the Ekblad one I can count because it was still technically a game then.
Yeah, I don't really count the Erod one, but 4 power
count
play goals, 1 from Marchand, 1 from Bennett, 1 from Verhaeghe, and the other 1 from Ekblad.
I still think it was hilarious how Erod just pointed to Mikla.
Mikla, go to the middle.
And just pass it back to me. Goal. Like,
and Bob's
Mikla, power play quarterback next year, Kirby?
Bob's been one of our best penalty killers, and he's been great.
And Bob made some huge saves in the first. If Bob's on, we're winning. Like
if they get that boosh bomb shut down from Bob.
I will say this:
got Draisaitl 0 shot attempts in game 4.
I think I'm the only one that had Bobrovsky on our top 5 honorable mentions list.
I said it would not be a goaltending series.
Yeah.
Now, if Bob wins this in 5 games, I'll be wrong.
Well, yeah, and then it'll probably be one of the best ones, right? But
I don't know if he wins the Conn Smythe, though.
Sergei, I think if we do win, he should.
I think that Vaski's 3rd.
Bobrovsky in game 3 was very confident. I mean, when he made those blocker saves, Kirby, he was punching at the puck.
But that shows that we're not being carried by Bob.
I'm liking my number 5 pick, though. I think
he had an excellent game, 32 out of 33 stops. But it's like, in the mess of that game, in the midst of that whole thing, it's like, oh crap, Bob stopped 32 out of 33.
Yeah, some people are forgetting.
You didn't even realize
it. Brilliance in the first periods of
and I think that gets overlooked. That got overlooked in game 1.
It's not the 3rd period; it's the first.
Game 2, we made some big stops there to keep us in it, and then he really rebounded.
That's when the Oilers are getting the most shots on net and the most shot attempts.
I think game 2 we made some big stops, but then throughout the rest of the course of the game, he was excellent. Allowed 3 goals in the first period of game 2. Excellent the rest of the way, and I still thought he was pretty good in the first of game 2.
But I just don't think he's outplaying Marchand and Bennett. That's nothing against Bob. I just think
no. But if he's playing this way and he's not outplaying guys on our team, and it's not Markov and Chuck and Reinhart.
But if the Panthers do win this in 5 or 6, I think you have 2 likely Conn Smythe winners for the Panthers. You have either Sam Bennett leading the playoffs in goal scoring, or you go with Brad Marchand, who scored the 2 biggest goals.
I would see Brad Marchand going into game 3, but Bennett just keeps lighting the lamp. And everyone, don't get mad at us on the podcast. Why are we talking about this right now? We're not jinxing anything. But, the next time we join you here, you never know. We might not be having this discussion because
the next time we join you, it's either going to be us celebrating
or breaking down
or a game 7
or game 6, whatever.
We'll do a game 6 if we're down. But we'll see. It could possibly happen. We could break down.
Yeah, we could be down in this series, so it's far from over. We should know that after last year, but we do have the recipe on how to beat them, and we got to come out with our best in game 4 again.
Yeah. Like right now, we got them doubting because last year they never thought about switching Skinner. This year, it's becoming a thought. Is it?
Go ahead.
Is it because they felt like they should have last year? Or is it or is Skinner hurt, or is it or is Naba I don't have much trust in Skinner?
Gentlemen, as we wrap up here, anything else? I'm glad Cody brought up the goaltending because part of the goaltending union there, Nick. I guess Nick's in our
part of the goalie union.
Nick says he's an honorary member now. I didn't know that he was being invited in there, Ryan. But anyways,
part of the goalie union, guys.
We're tracking Nick that he's respecting all.
I'll never be a part of the goalie union. I'm sorry.
Have I not been the goaltender's biggest fan in this series?
Yeah, but you can't just play it when the highs are high.
No,
we ride with the goalies year long, and not just Panther goalies, all NHL.
I'll ride with Bob. I'm not part of the goalie union, though.
That's fine, but the Nick's saying he's part of it now. But anyways, as part of the goaltending union, Cody, I was going to forget to talk about the goalies today. So
It's a big narrative right now.
Thank you for bringing it up.
But like, and the Marchand thing, that's Shorty in game 2 has been huge. Because I think that puts in the back of Edmonton's mind that the Panthers can go the other way.
Yeah, it's just everything right now. Special teams, 5v5, all working well. It's going to be hard to replicate that in game 3, but the pressure goes back.
My biggest gripe, I would like us to win some important faceoffs, namely at the beginning of power plays or when there are 6-on-5.
Or any defensive zone.
Would like that. But the biggest thing is right now, I think a big narrative in the series is Florida continues to have big second periods. They've had a lead in every third period this series. And Edmonton has trailed, I think they only trailed for 18 minutes. They've led for 154 minutes versus Dallas. They've led for 18 minutes versus the Panthers this series.
Yeah, huge extremes. And I think that's where they were controlling Vegas as well, too. So.
Yeah, they were up on Vegas quite a bit. So I think it was only it could be for both teams. I think it was just for Dallas, though.
Anything else, guys, to plug? We're going to have another community hangout this weekend on the YouTube channel side. A couple of guests are already lined up. We have a Florida news representation, and then we have an NHL personality. So make sure to join us over there. It was a great show last weekend there with Johnny Lazarus and Will Manso again. Will was awesome. First time I ever talked with him. Great guy.
What time Sunday?
I think it's around 3 or 4 p.m. We'll announce it. It was 4 p.m. Eastern time last weekend. So Sunday is the off day for the Panthers here.
Yes, but Sunday's a big holiday. For those, let's just say this. Happy Father's Day to those fathers in our community.
There we go.
Since this is coming out, I just reminded myself.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But happy Father's Day.
If you guys don't join us live, you can catch the replays.
Yep. And happy Father's Day to the father of the Boston Bruins, the Florida Panthers here, the Cats and Rats Network. There you go. Podcast, whatever the hell you call it.
Man, we're network now?
Should we do network? I like that.
Absolutely not, because the network is way more than what we are right now.
Not with that attitude, Cody. Anyways.
You're not going to be the one to manage it. Anyway, appreciate everyone joining for us.
Blow it out.
For me, Kirby and Nick, we sign off. And as always, let's go Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats.